I have part two of the one I uploaded earlier today. So this one was written at 15 minutes after midnight, Sunday, June 2nd, first one of that day. Mayan day was 11 night. Now it's deep, so center down. Before we ever start, center down. Let's take a neat trip. This journal continues the previous one, so if you haven't seen that one, please begin there. Otherwise, you'll be starting this one blind. And that one is all change starts within. You can only see what you have become. If you see, for instance, a certain beauty in me or in anyone, take that feeling that you get from it, pause and hold it, observe it. You are looking at self. This beauty you only see because you contain it. You have manifested it directly in the now here. We do not see that which we have not become. Now, do consider the previous journal. Please go down right now deeply into your own divine heart. Place yourself, your attention there. Anchor it there, perhaps, with the finger, pushing gently into the central chest to provide the physical reminder in support of your focus. I can't tell you how many hours I used to spend like this, helping myself, training myself to be present in heart. In the previous journal, we journaled perhaps as deeply as we've ever journaled before within. Leaving mind to the side for those moments, we dove straight down into heart, took up residence there for the duration, and then from there we looked out upon life, our life. We looked at some difficult things, things that had previously brought pain. Yet this time, when we looked at them, there was a noticeable shift, a shift from dark into light. We saw things we thought had happened to us, yet we discovered instead that they had happened to the false, not the real self. We thought we had been somehow harmed. We were sure of it. Yet, we discovered this too was not so. Instead, the harm was to mind. And really, mind wasn't even harmed. It just thought it was, based on its interpretation of events. So we looked into that, only this time from a brand new perspective. We used heart vision. That's how and when we saw and felt the shift from dark into light. Before we left out on that trip, we ensconced the self firmly within and took the whole journey from there to the best of our ability. We may have slipped out a few times as thoughts pushed their way into our awareness, but we popped right back in the moment we remembered who we really are, what we are about, the moment we remembered to center in heart. Most of us were able to look upon a time in our past when something painful had happened. We were able, as we took a new look from heart perspective, to see with new eyes. It just didn't look the same. Some of the hurt flowed out of it. Some healing occurred. We saw how in the past we lived only in mind. We had no other viable option, nor did anyone else, so we don't condemn self for it. That's just how it was. When viewed from heart, we saw major changes. We saw the mind playing its games, running the show. This time, when we looked, we were able to see how mind misinterpreted things as being negative, as producing real harm. What we saw instead was how it was the false self, the mind-created identity we had thought was our real self, how that one assumed it was hurt. Yet even that hurt wasn't real. No real harm was done. How can one harm something that isn't even real? How can real harm come to a phantom? The whole thing of being hurt was a construct of mind wholly based on its beliefs, none of which were correct. What some of us may have seen was how we were projecting reasons and motives on others that were likely not the case. We didn't know. We just assumed. When we looked really deeply, this is what we saw. We saw Source loving us with all of its heart. We saw the self being given the best of all possible situations to develop just exactly as we desired for ourselves. We saw how our pre-life planning played a part in the whole setup, how we ourselves participated in bringing it about. It was a shocking new look at something we had thought we understood. Now, maybe, hopefully, we're not quite so sure about that. At least, I hope that's the case. Remember, your heart vision is there and available for you at any time you take the time to center down, to enter heart. You actually have the option to view things through the eyes of Source, what some call God vision and what I call heart vision. You can see through the eyes of God. You can take a new look at your own life that way, and you can darn well bet that Source doesn't see things quite like you did. Source is unconditional love. Source looks at you, at me, at the world, and the cosmos through eyes of love, divine vision. Wherever Source looks, Source sees truth. Source also knows just exactly how things were constructed, how your life is put together. Source knows every little thing, why and how it happened as it did, what it meant. When looking at your painful situation, what did the divine vision see? It saw only love in action there. Source is well aware of all that went into that situation, why every action, every word came about as it did. Source knows the motivations of each one involved, directly and indirectly. Source knows all. And when we look with heart vision, we have the opportunity to see with those eyes. Some of you are having a hard time with this. You think it's too much. You have a sense of unworthiness that you haven't yet directly engaged. Some weeds that need to be pulled there. All I can ask is that you be open to the fact that this is possible. Every little thing that happens is for love, is for joy, is for beauty. Mind doesn't know this, and it can't, but that's okay too. Source knows this as well. But of course, Source also knows you were stuck in mind back at that time. Source knows it was the mind that thinks it was hurt there. Maybe mind was hurt. Maybe the body was too. But what really happened never touched you. Not the real you, who you are. Not the divine identity. Not Source. Source was not and is never hurt. And you are that. Instead, when perceived through the heart, we can see how the divine is never hurt, no matter what, nothing excluded. It's not possible to even touch, much less hurt, Source. To think so is to both be in mind and to anthropomorphize. Let's let that go. I have a footnote there that I'll share with you, though. When I say Source can't be hurt, it doesn't mean that Source doesn't feel pain. Of course it does. But it's different. It's not possible to hurt Source. But Source does feel everything that's felt everywhere. It doesn't interpret it via a 3D mind. And so there isn't the sense of being hurt. So, Source was not touched, harmed. Neither was the real you. Instead, based on many false beliefs, all coming together in just a certain precise way, that situation was used for your benefit. You were blessed by it. To the extent you can leave mind behind while you examine it from heart, you can see what is meant. You can see the depth of blessing that was and is there for you in the perpetual now. Now, I didn't mean to take up that much time with the synopsis, but there you go. It comes through as it does. What I wanted so much to share with you is that you were able to see that because you have become it. You have manifested that beauty, that love, that deep understanding, or you couldn't perceive it at all. As we rise up the light spiral into the higher dimensions, into realms of higher frequency, greater light, our vision continues to expand divinely. We'll be able to see beauty on beauty, glory and joy, because we have become these, my friends. As within, so without. When we make internal changes, they manifest in our external world. We are, moment by moment, being perfected. It can be challenging to accommodate to as fast as the changes are manifesting. But There are no limits set for us, only those we set for the self. So, if you want the journey of the rocket ship, that too can be yours, if you leave mind quite out of it. Now, that's the bottom line, really. Mind can no longer run things, not to go on this journey into higher dimensions. Mind can still be useful, it just can't be in charge anymore. This will be perhaps too challenging for some. Well, that will be their opinion. It won't be the case, but as long as they have chosen to believe it, that will be the law they have created. Well, for themselves, of course, no one else. We will be seeing more and more into how it works that we each create our own personal reality, while yet all participating together as well. We have free will, yet we are one. And that's a source-sized paradox, fit for a god. Little g. How far you came on the previous journal journey, don't let that limit you, whatever it was. You can easily take that journal again, many times, choosing the same challenging time to review or another one. Anything you look at in this way can be healed to a significant extent. Old hurts can be softened or even melt away. It depends on how deeply into heart you get to view them. When looked at through the eyes of Source, everything is deeply blessed. How could it be otherwise? You are the divine. To the extent you are willing to either be open to this or to take it on as a new belief, you will see changes in your world. You will see yourself shift in subtle ways, in many ways. I suggest you journal this, for you'll be surprised when you look back, say in a year or two, on this time, at the change in you that's been wrought. You may well not recognize yourself. It may feel like another embodiment, another lifetime. What else can I say? Divine vision is intensely, extremely powerful. It creates shifts. It requires stepping outside of mind, however. That much is required. Don't ask me why. I don't know. It just seems to be how things work. It also helps to be setting aside the old beliefs that crop up that get in the way. The more weeding we do in the garden of belief, the easier such shifts flow. It's also alchemical, rather like magic, actually. I haven't seen anything else produce quicker results. So, whatever route you choose to shift your beliefs, go for it. There is, in this whole process, a reprogramming of mind going on, side by side with the rest, with the journal journeys. Mind, too, is being shown these whole new ways to look upon things. And in many cases, mind is deeply impressed. It will likely still fight you for control until it sees that there is simply no way it can win. But by watching these journeys you take, how well they come out, the relief that they bring, well, mind does take note. It's not stupid. It's being reprogrammed without any direct effort this way. The beauty that you are is the beauty that you will see as you look out upon life from heart. The joy and the trust and the love that you are, you will see as you look all around you. You'll wonder, what happened? What made the big change? At some point, you'll see it was you who changed, not life, only you. You made the great shift. Oh, and by the way, to leave head and enter heart, by some definitions, is called awakening. Namaste.